There are many ways that the New Age has crept into the church. Some can seem very obvious, but others are embraced by Christians and are even implemented by the churches themselves. The Enneagram is one of them. Now, this can seem like a bold statement to many because this is used as a tool amongst Christians, particularly the younger ones, to help develop themselves and their relationship with God. But are the origins of the Enneagram more sinister than we first thought? A wolf in sheep's clothing, perhaps? Why has this personality test become so popular, and has our need to know ourselves overtaken our need to know Jesus? Because he is no longer enough. Like many Christians of my generation, I was swept up in the phenomenon that was the Enneagram. Conversations consisted of our numbers and wings, basic fears and desires, healthy and unhealthy attributes. My life was dictated to by a 15-minute test. My thoughts, feelings, relationships with friends and family, how I perceived myself and others were now categorized into a one-page description. I turned to the explanations of my number when I found myself crippled with anxiety instead of turning to Jesus and his word. As much as I would try and fool myself into thinking that Jesus was my one and only, in reality, he was not. I searched for other things that would fulfill me and encouraged others to do the same. I was deceived by false teachings in the church, and here's how it happened. So one of the reasons I really wanted to do this program as well was because I was also deceived into going into New Age stuff, and I didn't have a clue that I was going into it. So I thought I was very strong in my faith, as we all do, and immune to anything. And I just want to bring up like 1 Corinthians 10 verse 12 as a warning and as a reminder. Therefore, let the one who thinks he stands firm, immune to temptation, being overconfident and self-righteous, take care that he does not fall into sin and condemnation. So for me, I thought I was doing well in my life, and then in the space of like 2 weeks, everything just fell apart. So I didn't know what I was doing, who I was, what my future was. I was just like a blob.
Confusion.
There was a lot of confusion going on.
Yeah.
And I had to move out of the place I was living really quickly. And I managed to find a place with one of the girls in a new church that I joined.
Yeah.
And when she sort of invited me over for a meal, one of the first things she asked me was, what's your Enneagram number? And I didn't have a clue what that was.
She asked you straight out?
It was like, what's your number? And I was like, I have no idea what you mean.
Yeah.
And she was like, your Enneagram number, what's that? I was like, I have no clue what that is. And she said, well, take the test and you'll find out.
Oh, God.
So I took the test and I found out what I was. And then that started a whole thing of, for the next year then, most conversations were based around the Enneagram. I talk about why I'm doing things and what's going on, and meeting people and being like, what's your number? And they'll say their number and you're like, oh, I know you then. Oh, that's the type of person you are.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody knows what the Enneagram is, but it is something that is completely saturated in the church at the moment.
Right.
And that's the wider church. People are not really that aware of that is New Age.
Yeah.
Because they think it's based in Christianity, and all these churches are doing it. So
Yeah.
mega churches, really well-known churches are doing it. So they think, oh yeah, it's fine. And so what the Enneagram is essentially is a 9-point system, which is there's sort of like a personality test, and each number is a specific personality.
Oh, okay, sure.
And so you are that, basically. And you can move into different numbers. There are different wings you have on either side.
Okay.
And it's like, so I was a 1. So I was a 1 wing too. And so that meant that I was a specific way, but I had tendencies towards this. And if you are healthy, your standard is that number. But then when you feel like, oh, you're not doing so well or you're doing really well, you start displaying different characteristics of another number, so you know how you're doing.
What?
So it's really confusing. But at the time, because I was so low and I didn't know who I was, I found my identity in the Enneagram because it told me who I was and it made complete and utter sense. And I went, I took that on.
But you make excuses for all sorts.
Yeah, exactly. It tells you your basic fear and your basic desire, and however you act is from that root.
What?
And so churches will say, try this Enneagram test so we know who you are, that type of thing.
So now I don't need to get to know you. You're not a one-off in God's creation, because now you pulled in with everybody else and I treat you the same as all you number ones, because that's how you react, rather than Chloe is God-made, handmade, catered, one-off.
Yeah.
And I need to get to know her, all the facets of her, which is going to take a life's work because she's going to keep growing.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I would read the books. There is a book that's called The Road Back to You. And again, it's all about self. This whole thing is all about self and knowing who you are rather than knowing who Christ is. And there's a journey that says, okay, ones now, you do really well in a relationship with I can't remember what it is, but a number 6 or whatever, and that'll be a really good pairing for marriage. So then that comes into it then.
What?
So you're looking for your potential partner and seeing what characteristics they tend to have. And so it's just it's a snowball effect.
But isn't that then, so does that, I'm not familiar with all this nonsense, right? So doesn't that require, when you're answering these personality tests, that you know yourself to a point? Yeah. Where you think you would be a certain something.
Yeah. So so it's only your perception of yourself that dictates the answer, essentially. So I know I'm kind of like this, or I've been displaying these characteristics. So you say, yes, I'm more likely to, I'm less likely to do that. And then you come up with your number at the end.
It's almost like it's as deceiving as these personality tests that tell you which one of the 5-fold ministry you're in.
I've done that. And I've also done the Myers-Briggs. That also tells you what
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But unfortunately, that's when you don't know who or whose you are, you will strive to find out, because you know, yourself has become an idol. I need to know who I am. I need to know who I am, because I
Whereas
don't know.
you don't need to know who you are.
No.
You need to know who he is.
Yeah.
You are of no concern. Don't worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Worry about him.
Yeah.
Right? Following him. Everything else will happen.
Yeah.
You will discover what you're capable of and what you're not capable of when you follow him.
Yeah.
If you want to, discover yourself before following him, you're going to end up in doing all sorts of weird stuff.
But like, churches are still doing it. I remember listening to a podcast, a really well-known podcast in the sort of the Christian sphere, and they would have a whole summer talking about the Enneagram, and they would talk to all of the different leaders in churches, and the ones would come on. So I would listen to the podcast about the ones.
Right.
And I'd be like, yeah, okay, this is how I need to apply myself in a church or in ministry and things like that.
What?
And then there's also another well-known songwriter. He's brilliant, writes beautiful songs, but he has a whole thing on the Enneagram, a whole album on it, and each song is catered to that number. And when I listened to that, I was like, it was almost like, somebody gets me.
Oh my God.
I remember I was crying because I was like, finally, I know who I am. It gets really deep into all that stuff. And I was listening to his podcast, like how he wrote it, how it was in C, because that's the way ones like it. It's you know, it's no sharps, no flats, it's nice, and it's the shortest one because we like to get things done. And
so they placed you in a box.
Yeah.
and this is how you are, this is how you react to everything.
Yeah.
Wow. That is craziness.
Yeah. And I didn't realise it for a very long time. I'd left the house that I was sort of living in, and I moved back home, and I wasn't involved in it. But then when I came to this church, I think one of the questions I asked, I actually remember asking you this and what was happening. I just happened to just ask, so what's your number? And you were like, huh? What?
What are you talking about?
You were like, what are you on about? And I remember Katie being in the corner, be like, no, not at all, don't touch that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I was really surprised that you didn't know your Enneagram number, because I was led to believe that leaders in church should know it and not know what they are. So I was really shocked that like you weren't aware of it or anything like that. Because a couple of months, prior moving back, I went to a church. I won't say its name, but it's a well-known church, and for a couple of weeks. And when they were introducing the worship leaders, they'd say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm a number 3. All you number 3s, put your hands up, boop, boop. And so all the people were putting their hands up, and somebody go on and say, I'm this. And you're like, oh, you know what we like, our number 1s or number 7s. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I remember being with the girls that I was sharing an Airbnb with.
Yeah.
And some of them had never known what it was. And I was like, you need to know your Enneagram number. And I was like, let's take the test. So I sat them down. We did the test. I showed them their song, and they were like, wow, this is me. And so not only was I deceived.
Yeah. You were deceiving
I was deceiving others.
You were the wolf in the sheep's clothing.
Absolutely. And I didn't even know it.
But this is the thing. People, they don't even know that they are the wolves in the sheep's clothing, because it's so deceiving.
Yeah, and this is why I want to bring it up. Like, sometimes we don't know.
No.
And with the best intentions, I think one of the things I've learned most whilst being here is I'll say something, and say it's in the Bible, and I'll go, I don't know. So if it's not in the Bible, I need to go and look for it. But
right, the one scripture that debunked the whole of the Enneagram, right? Judge them by their fruits.
Yeah.
That is judge them by their number.
Yeah.
Right? They've created this number system. Judge them by that. Right? So all of my behaviours now is dependent on your number.
Yeah.
So I will respond according to that number to you.
Yeah.
Right? That's not what scripture says, is judge them by their fruits. So when I, getting to know you over the past year and a bit, whatever, I've judged you by your fruit.
Yeah.
You've judged me by my fruit. That's individual.
Yeah. But I've got 2 descriptions.
Okay.
Of 2 numbers.
Right. So.
One of them is my number.
Okay.
And one of them isn't. And I was reading it, and you'll notice it's very similar to maybe a horoscope. But I just want to know which one you think would be me.
This is horoscopes.
Which one you think was me.
Right.
So I'll do the first one. These are conscientious and ethical, with a strong sense of right and wrong. They are teachers, crusaders, and advocates for change, always striving to improve things, but afraid of making a mistake. Well organised, orderly, and fastidious, they try to maintain high standards, but can slip into being critical and perfectionistic. They typically have problems with resentment and impatience. At their best, wise, discerning, realistic, and noble can be morally heroic. So the basic fear of this number is of being corrupt or evil and defective. And the basic desire is to be good, to have integrity, and to be balanced. So this is one.
Right.
One of them. And this is another one that, you see if it is me or not.
Okay.
So this number are alert, insightful, and curious. They're able to concentrate and focus on developing complex ideas and skills. Independent, innovative, and inventive, they can also become preoccupied with their thoughts and imaginary constructs. They become detached, yet high-strung and intense. They typically have problems with eccentricity and isolation. At their best, visionary pioneers, often ahead of their time and able to see the world in an entirely new way. So their basic fear is being useless, helpless, or incapable, and their basic desire is to be capable and competent. So one of these I'm not, according to the Enneagram.
I can't tell.
Well, I think
You're both?
I'm both, but according to the Enneagram, I'm not one of them. So the one I am not is the second one, which is a 5, the investigator. And I am the first.
But you are. There's bits of the first one that I don't think you are.
Yeah.
You're not a resentful person at all. So both of them have yes and no's.
Yeah.
But you can make anything into it.
But this is
because I'm a very multifaceted person.
Yeah.
You are too.
Yeah.
You probably find yourself different behaviours in all of them.
And that's the thing. You've been put into a box.
Right.
And so now my whole character and my whole person is based on this one thing.
And it's making a prophetic statement of you. That this is who you are.
Yeah.
So the rest of your life now, you will live to this standard.
Yeah.
See, the Chloe that I know today is not going to be the Chloe that I know next year or the year after because you grow.
Yeah.
And so I'm forever looking forward to what's she going to look like next year.
Yeah.
What's she going to be? I'm not going to put her in a box and be like, this is how she reacts like this to everything.
No.
She's not. She's on a journey. She's going to grow.
Yeah.
Like, that is horrific, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is horrific.
And this is what's in churches now. Big time. Also that, a church is selling the Enneagram books in their store. I showed you this the other day. And they're promoting this and selling it and profiting off it.
Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's good.
No. And
evil is disguised as good. This is why it's wolf in sheep's clothing. Because it's disguised as a tool that you think, oh, this could be helpful.
Yeah.
But in fact, it ain't in you. So it literally is. You are eating off the tree of good and evil, of the knowledge of. So it's hit and miss.
Yeah.
Right? It's hit and miss where you go. It's not the tree of life. That's a completely different tree. Because the tree of life is right? If it ain't in you, it's hit and miss.
Yeah.
And you are now taking people to eat off a tree that the Lord said, don't eat off it.
No.
Right? There are some good stuff there, but some evil stuff is hit and miss.
Yeah.
Right? Mixing.
Yeah.
Right? Don't eat off the tree of mixing. Right? Go to the tree of life every time. You want to know who Chloe is? Find out who Jesus is.
Yeah.
You want to know who I am? Find out who Jesus is.
Yeah.
Because I want to see the Jesus in people. I don't care about this stuff.
No.
This is absolute nonsense, to be honest. It makes me angry, to be honest, that they're judging people. If I had judged, we've got some people here, one of them, Joel Beard on camera. If I had judged him when he first came to church, with all the church hurts that he had encountered, he was angry, rightfully so, over the stuff that's happened. If I had judged him by a number, he wouldn't have grown.
No.
I had to look at the Jesus in him. What has Jesus placed in him? That's what I need to speak to. That's what I need to draw out. Not all this nonsense. He's resentful. Oh, we all are. Join the club.
Yeah.
We're all sinners. We're all fallen short. That's not what we need to speak to. I don't need to know that stuff about you. I want to know the Jesus in you.
Yeah.
Where is that? Where are the fruits? Let's draw that out.
Yeah.
Do you mean? Now there's growth.
But there's
crazy.
And it's not even just churches who are kind of talking about. There's specific ministries for the Enneagram to teach everybody how we can link with the gospel and link with Jesus. And so it's become so entwined now. It's become a gospel.
Well, dare I go as far as say shame on you. Shame on you for treating people like cattle. You leading them to the slaughter.
Yeah.
You numbering them. And Jesus doesn't do that. He treats everybody as an individual, precious in his sight.
Yeah.
Right? So to treat them like cattle, you lead them to their death. Shame on you.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. And I didn't realise it. But thank God I have now had my eyes opened.
Yeah.
Because I didn't look at what the origin of it was.
No. And through having your eyes opened, in this, you've become a different person from first when we met a year ago. And how did you become a different person? Friend who saw something in you.
Yeah.
Who was like, there's something wow about her.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
Not people to box you in.
Definitely don't. So I wanted to hit on what the origin is, because the churches don't tell you this. People think, oh, it's back from hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Right.
I was on a website of one of these ministries that is trying to sell the Enneagram as something part of Christianity, and it had like a list of questions, and this is what it said: do we need to know its origin? And this is their answer: no. While history is important, it's okay to let it remain ambiguous. So you were leading people.
And this is a Christian site?
This is a Christian site.
What?
So I'll just go through where it started. I'm not going to go through into it. If you want to know, look it up yourself. It's all there. So it kind of started off in the last 120 years. It's very new.
Right.
And there was this mystical teacher called George Gurdjieff. I hope I'm saying that right. What the West knows of the Enneagram began with George Gurdjieff, a spiritual teacher of enormous personal magnetism, who alluded to the Enneagram as a Sufi oral teaching device. So Sufi is essentially Islamic mysticism. And that he used to recognise the students' aptitudes for particular kinds of inner life training. And so this is from the book, The Enneagram, Understanding Yourself and the Others in Your Life. So that's kind of like where it was based on. And then next, this other guy, so Oscar Icazo, started to put together the traditional Enneagram. Thus, the traditional Enneagram only goes back to the 1960s when he first started teaching it, although the philosophy behind the Enneagram contains components from mystical Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Taoism, Buddhism, and ancient Greek philosophy.
Mixing.
Yeah, and mainly from the Kabbalah as well. That's what he did.
No surprise.
But actually there was a Chilean guy, and I read like a whole transcript of the interview, what this guy was in, and he was very much inspired by George Gurdjieff, and his name was Claudio Naranjo, and he's alluded to be the one who has done the Enneagram now as what it is. And he said, much of what is now in the Enneagram literature came to me by automatic writing. And if nobody knows what automatic writing is, this is what I found it was. Automatic writing is a technique invented by French surrealism. It aims to shake off all control of consciousness to produce unconventional text with raw, striking images and unusual descriptions. Apart from this, the definition of automatic writing is elusive. Some call it a form of psychography, where the writers channel a spirit and write down what it tells them.
Oh my God.
Often people use devices like Ouija boards. Others employ hypnosis or drugs to write automatically. And in brackets they said, we strongly discourage this, but it's okay to use Ouija boards. So, if your church is teaching the Enneagram,
it's rooted in satanic.
take a look at the definition, and it's witchcraft.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, no, I don't agree with that, you can't disagree with that.
No.
It's only recently, 1960s, and these guys were using LSD, ecstasy to write all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, Claudio Naranjo, he was into all things.
Yeah. But what Dad says, isn't it? When you start out on a journey, one little deviation off will send you in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Christians have done. So by just one little thing, we'll do the Enneagram. Looks good. It'll tell us about people's personalities, enlighten them about themselves.
Yeah.
One little self-deviation off, and it's going to end up in cultism. How many cults we've seen born out of this type of stuff, which is essentially what you've come out of, is a cult, right? Dictated to.
Yeah.
Right? We know what your personality is like, so you're not capable of doing this, this and this. So you're for this job.
Yeah.
It's tragic. What an absolute deception. And what's the scripture? Small foxes spoil the vineyard.
Yeah.
And these are the small foxes that's come into our churches. Enneagram, yoga, crystals, self-care, and it's spoiling the vineyard. Right? And the harvest is about to come in, but the seed isn't good. It's not good.
Yeah.
So it's got to stop. If it ain't in you, do not do it.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it looks good and you think, well, you know, there's no kind of ties, don't do it. Do not do it. Just because it's better to play safe with this than to get it wrong. Because not only are you deceiving yourself, but you've got the possibility of deceiving everybody else.
Yeah.
If it ain't Jesus, I don't want it. He's got to be enough. Jesus has got to be enough. What he speaks over me is enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't fulfill what he speaks over me, but my life's work is to fulfill who he says I am.
Yeah.
Not what somebody else says I am.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's terrible, right? I've never heard such nonsense in my life.
The Enneagram is a deceptive tool that puts the focus on ourselves, making us our own gods. Jesus is no longer worthy of our praise because we're so wrapped up in how we feel and what we identify ourselves as that we've made altars for ourselves. We're now willing to put ourselves in a man-made box, which means that we might never embrace the fullness of what God wants of us and who he has called us to be. The Western Church needs to wake up and remove these personality tests from its buildings and start pointing people towards Jesus, because soon we will have an entire generation of Christians who are so narcissistic and completely consumed with themselves that the gospel they share is a polluted one. However, Jesus has redeemed us. We are in a position where we can turn away from ourselves and to him. I don't want myself to be the end goal. Jesus is my goal, and nothing else will do. If you're trying to find yourself, find him first. As Paul said to the Philippians, "Whatever were gains to me, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them garbage, that I may gain Christ and be found in him."